interviewing different women throughout the month who have done some extraordinary things in the community, in the nation, women who have been nominated by other women. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing an amazing author and storyteller. She has written over 8 novels, from science fiction to mystery to fantasy, and is currently promoting her latest novel, uh, the second Unexpected 2,
Yes. Yeah.
2020, the year when the face of America changed. I want to introduce to you Miss Helen Collier. Hi, Miss
Hey there, my pleasure. Let me
Helen.
let me share with the audience a letter from the past. There was no warning that they were coming. Millions of stars filled the night sky. Not a cloud in sight. Nothing prepared us for their coming. In the dead of night, their violence exploded. Our lives were the target of their destruction. Each way we turned, they defeated us. They burned our homes. They killed our babies, though we struggled to save them. What could we do when there was no one to help or were willing to help us? When their carnage was over, they left the dead behind. Among the horrors, reminding us of their coming, was a torn white sheet hanging from the branch of a tree where death had taken its bounty. It's an honor for me to be here with you. I
Wow.
I got my jump start. I think if you know
Wait,
Arthur,
before you jump in, you got to talk about the piece that you just read.
this. Oh, really? You want me to share that with you? The
Yes,
race.
that was powerful. You can't just jump that on us and then not talk about it. That was deep and that was powerful. And what a way to open up our segment today. Yes, talk about it and tell us well, we can kind of figure out where the inspiration came from, but like tell us what your thoughts were when you decided to write that piece.
Well, as I told you previously stated, I'm from East St. Louis. In 1917, there was a race ride there, and the all the people, older people, talked about the horror of that race ride and how they died and the horrors that happened to them. And when I went south with my mother, I listened to the older women talk about what it was living in the South and living when you was in your bed asleep and you did not know when suddenly you see fire. You'd hear harsh racial comments, and all of a sudden, um, they were killing, hanging, destroying, and you were running, trying to find a safe place to
Wow.
to to share. I mean, to keep stay alive, and to
Mhm.
see them uh, um, take your babies and toss them aside and kill them, and that resonates with you and it stays with you, and um, it becomes a part of who you are and how you see the world.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I wanted to share history with you, not in a textbook form, but from the hearts of Black mothers that experienced this or was told by their mothers and grandmothers of their experiences.
Mm. I love
And
it because it goes right along with, I mean, this is Women's History Month, and so you are, bringing us a little bit of your history and what you've experienced and what you've learned from, what's been told, all of that good stuff. And so I love that piece. That piece was a great way to open it up. So now you can go ahead and talk about who Miss Helen Collier is.
well, I think I got my jump start of living in a at the same way Richard Wright. the author Richard Wright.
Mhm.
He when he was little coming up, he grew up in a boxcar, in a train boxcar. I
Mhm.
started out that way myself, and then I also resonate with Zell Neale
Mhm.
Hurston, who
Zornil. Uh-huh.
lived, Zell Neale Hurston, who lived in a black city.
Mhm.
East St. Louis wasn't completely black, but there was a portion of it was that was black, and that was my experience.
Mhm.
Um, my first interaction actually with with the white race was when I was 7 years old, and we lived on Bosman, and that was 19th Street was a busy street, and back in the day the cars had running boards, and so I was trying to get across the street and ran up on this car and the running board, hit my face, smashed it into the door, and there was this white family, the white man he was driving, and his two children and his wife. I bumped. He stopped the car. I fell off. When I fell off, he drove on. I
Oh.
finally picked myself up, stole in the house, got under the covers of my bed, cried myself to sleep. And when I woke up, I understood what pain meant to me. And I think I became a writer in my heart, in my mind,
Wow.
at that moment. But I really understood what this man probably told his family: Black lives don't matter.
Mhm.
But but I guarantee you, from time to time, he stopped and thought about a black life that, and he didn't know whether he ended that life
Mhm.
or whatever. But he had to think about that, and it has to resonate in him from time. And if not him, his children that he had to explain it to.
Mhm.
And so,
So I have a
you
question.
know,
So
okay,
how
ask
does it
me.
make you feel that we're still experiencing that today in 2021 and you experienced that years ago? Did you ever think that you would still be experiencing that today?
Absolutely, because when you have been for centuries taught something that's instilled in you, um, if there's no one to help you learn better, then that's all you know. When I write my books, I write about my white Americans and what they have never learned. And one thing I do know, no matter what they've done to us and how they have treated us, they need us. They have done everything they could to get rid of us. We still. And every song we sing, they love.
Right.
E- every,
Right.
every time we're in the kitchen cooking, they're in there trying to eat, talking about us, but still trying to eat the food we cook.
Absolutely. You already
So
know.
they already know. So when they do their damage and try to destroy us, they're simply destroying themselves. That's
Hmm.
it.
Right.
You can't take what the Lord has put here and given. And we were here first. Let's
Let's
get
be
that straight.
clear.
Let's be clear. And so they can say whatever they want to. They didn't build any pyramids. That's for sure. And so it's fun, you know. I have to thank my mother. She's a story. She was always a storyteller. When we was little, she would tell us stories, and so I just love hearing them. And when I got old enough to go to the library, I would get the Bro Rabbits because he was
Mhm. Oh
always doing
yeah.
something. Yes, and so when I was about 13 or 14, my mother didn't let me go too far from the house, but I had older friends, and I would write stories. And they would come and get each page, little love stories that I would write. So it gave me and then in school I wrote a science fiction story about a little boy who found himself on Mars, and all this red he was sinking, and they were trying to dig in to get him, and all of a sudden, boom, he woke up, and they were just all elated and excited, and so um, I just always have loved to share life,
Mhm.
and especially with my of my black people. People will tell me, they'll say, "Oh, Helen, if you why do you write books? Because black people don't read. If you want to keep something from a black person, you put it in a book and they'll never see it." Uh-uh. I don't go for that. My thing is write my story. When I was trying to get connected with traditional publishers, which was mostly white, um, my story wasn't what they wanted to hear. It wasn't. They didn't think it was important enough. Or and you could write. They tell you write queries, write this, do this, and
Mhm.
if you write the right query, no, you got to wait. You got to write a query, wait 6, 7 months, and then even if they say they like it, then you. That's because our story doesn't mean the same to them as it means to us.
Mhm.
And they don't understand how important our stories is to them.
Mhm.
And if I'm writing a story, I might write a story about someone who don't have a place to live, someone whose insanity, their mental health is way off kill.
Mm.
Uh, um, my daughter said to me, she said, "Mom." Oh, and let me explain this to you too. Wh- Whenever I write, it doesn't have to even be a book. It just has to be a letter to someone, to
Mhm.
something I need. Uh, um, when I started working at the youth center as a correction officer at the juvenile center, and I worked there for about 26 years,
Mhm.
working with the children there. And so when I came there, first I came there on call. So they said, the supervisor said, "Collier, I want you to work in this unit." I said, "Well, I don't understand the the antics of what I need to do here. Don't worry about it. We just need a body. We just need a body." So the next day when I got to work, the person who really works there all the time, she wrote in the log, um, she didn't do this. She didn't. She went to talk about white employees. So I said, "Sir, you told me, and you didn't tell me what to do." And she's look at all these things she said about me. And I said, and so he said, "Oh, don't worry about it." He was black like me. "Oh, don't worry about it." All right. I said, uh, no, he got me twisted. I'm from be saying we worry about everything. I wrote back to her. I said, "Now you are a low down, dirty person." I said, "Because all you have to do is come to me, and I will explain to you." I said, "But if you see something that you see need doing, do it yourself because slavery is over. If it's not for you, it is for me." So she ran and told everybody, and said, "Oh, we got to fire her. We got to fire her." And I said, "Woo." And so a coworker came to me. He said, "Helen," he said, "I was sitting in working with her, and she said her uncle told her, um, you work down there with niggas." And so when that happened, I just wrote him a letter. And I said, "Well," I said, "I felt like if this woman had the nerve to say something like that in front of her coworkers, she is racist herself."
Mhm.
They didn't say another word to me. And
And
from
you
the
got to
time
keep your job.
my job was intact, and they probably wanted to fire me a whole lot of times because Willie Stowers was the president of our union, and he said, "Helen, I need somebody to write something that's going to be strong." And, so, and I told him that he said, "Willie, you don't have to control Kaya." He said, "Nobody controls Kaya when she writes." So he said, because I said, we didn't win this time, but we're going to live to fight the devil another day. He said, she
Mhm.
called me the devil. So, so it was,
Listen.
you know, I mean, writing for me has just, that's been a part of what I do. When my, I was, I was working, and everybody knew that if something come up, they was gonna call me to write about it or put
Mhm.
it on notice. So my my supervisor at the time, he ran to me and said, Helen, he said, I hired this employee. He said he's good with kids, but he's a creative writer. So I met the guy, okay. And so he said, well, will you write something? And I couldn't think of anything to write. So my daughter said to me, Mama, write about Oprah. I said, what? She said, yeah, write about Oprah. I said, she loved Oprah. I said, I haven't thought about Oprah since back in the day. Oprah used to have episodes where she would produce the play. She would ma- do a screenplay and write and TV episodes of black women and their lives and stuff. And we just loved her. And then all of a sudden, boom, nothing. And so I kind of got out of touch with Oprah. But when she told me that, Mama, please, I created a book called My Oprah and create in recreating the legacy. And you may
Really?
yes, and when I wrote this book, I wrote it about our history and Miss Johnny B, who was an 85-year-old woman, and she mentored 7 young women. And her thing was she loved Oprah. So I had to create and figure in my mind how I could connect the two. And so anytime she worked with those women, and anytime she had something to do, she said, "My Oprah." And she'd have a big pot of beans, and she'd take it over to them, and whatever their problem was, one of the young girls had 7 children, and there was no father in sight. And she took her bowl of beans over there and fed those children, and told them and explained to the woman that, it's not time to die, it's time to live. So it it was just it was so I'm into my stories. Every character is a part of me, and I want my black people to be their stories to be told in a way that they can live. Because this is what happened to me. I gotta share this with you. I wrote the unexpected. No, no, looking for trouble. I wrote this. It was six short stories in this book.
Mhm.
Looking for trouble, and so one of the stories I said when I was writing it, it was a draft, and I said, Elsa, I said, this is my sister. She's a retired uh director of nurses. She said, um, "Oh, I can read this in a few minutes." She said, "Now I'll probably know the ending of it right away." And so we were sitting outside, and in East St. Louis, sometimes it get 115 degrees. And so we was getting ready to go
Ooh.
in the shopping. And so she said, I said, okay, Elsa, just finish it. Then when we come back, she would not give it up until the very end. She said, "How?" She said, "I couldn't figure out what the end was." I said, "Hey, that's the way I write, baby."
Yeah.
And so she sold the book to one of her friends. Well, the woman, and then so my unexpected came out. I just written unexpected, and so um, she said told the reader, she said, I can't sell you this book. I have another buyer for it, so reader for it. So you have to wait. And so when she got ready to sell the book, she couldn't find it. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, the reader, my reader that had read the first book came up and told us that. She said, "Girl, I couldn't wait, so I just had to take that book and read it." She said, "You stole out of my house. Give me my book." I don't
Look,
have no.
listen, that's how good your stories are. People gotta steal.
I don't have no business. I said, Elsa, give her a break.
So let's
And
talk about your current
okay,
project. What's your current
okay.
So let's talk about your current project and what book you're promoting now.
Well, let me share with you. Okay, this is what happened. You know, everything I do, there's a story behind. So let me
Right.
tell you that
It's
little
okay.
story. So my friends, I had two writing friends because I'm a part of the African American Writers Alliance. Georgia is the has had it going on since
Mhm.
1992, and there are not that many blacks in the state of Washington, so we had to have an organization where black writers could write and get their work out. Whether we could get published in the traditional, we still needed a platform so people
Mhm.
could get to know us. But anyway, two of my friends was a part of that our writing group, and so they kept telling me, Helen, there's the rhythm writers workshop. They said you need to come there and write. And I said, I don't know about me and these, because it was about seven white women and okay, the guy, it was a black guy and a black woman, Margaret and Gayla, and they, oh Helen, come on, go with us, come on, do it. So I said to them, I said, well, I said, okay, I said, but I'm gonna take the unexpected. I said, I'm gonna. They said, bring a few pages of. I said, I'm gonna bring a few pages because it's black like me. You know, I got my black people standing tall in there. So I said, I'm gonna send this to them. I'm gonna let them read this to them. I said, they gonna tell me, don't come back. So when I thought this to them, we sit down. Woo! Wait a minute, where's the next chapter? Where's the next chapter? Oh my God. And worked with me for months getting this straightened out because, and then they said, oh, Helen, uh, when I laid it on the stone, they said, wait a minute, just give me a little break. And they, so, but they was feeling so sorry for maybe. That's my black character in there. Oh, maybe she's a slave woman. And they was feeling so sorry for her. And then Don, who had gone back in time to be with her, oh, she felt sorry for her too. And then when we got to the end, it was one more chapter. And, and they said, another chapter? I said, yes, I haven't finished yet. When I thought that last chapter home, they said, oh, they was
So
but I
you
told
you
them that's how it would be. But hey, life don't always fall hard on the black folks. Come on
right.
now. You know,
So
you
tell
got
us
to pay.
how so that's the book that you currently have. Tell us how so you got
Oh,
quite
wait
a
a
few
minute.
books I know.
Yeah, but hold on. So then, after I wrote, when I wrote this, I have written a play. I had written a play. She playwright had talked me into writing a play. But she said, Helen, she said, you're gonna have to write a sequence to that book because that last chapter was a monster. So I said, shoot. And then so that's when I wrote The Unexpected 2, 2020, the year when the face of America changed. You see,
Mm.
when people don't understand that when they're doing things that's wrong gonna follow 'em. And it's gonna keep, and the things that they do to us, it has a way of coming back on you. And I love that gives me something to write. That lets me know. Uh-uh. They can do anything. When in Georgia, when those black people came out there and smacked them, now they gotta, now you gonna let people know that you changing the voting laws because you the tough buddy. You've been doing everything you wanted to do. And now you so scared you got to change the voting laws? Let us know what you're about. We got your number. And
so
and, and
so we probably got quite a few people who would like to learn how to read your books. How can they find more information about your books?
all that let me share this with them. Uh, I when I first wrote my books, I had to self publish, but I went with a publishing company was a white publishing company, and they were not really interested in at me as a writer, but you know what the finances that I had. Well, then I went to a Life Chronicle where a black sister was a publisher, and she was just getting started trying to get things together, and
Is she
so
out of Washington?
she's out of well, she started, yeah, when I met her, she was in Washington. She's in
Hmm.
South Carolina now.
Okay.
She had to go south like you. She left me, but still, yeah. But she was out of Washington at the time, and she said, Helen, she said, I'm going to publish for you. She said, in any thing that you royalties that you get, she said, I'm gonna make sure you get it unless it gets way high. She said because a writer needs to feel good about what they're doing and their work. So she hooked me up on my web page, uh HelenCollierMeow.com. If you go to that and you go to the page where you can go to a page where you can link into Amazon, or you can go directly to Amazon
Hmm.
and have the books sent to you, and you can mail them that. And so I never did get to my trilogy. That took me 30 years. Man, that's our history. Totally history. But as a let me share, I don't just write about people of my race. I write about white Americans too because I've lived with them in this country all my life. So I write about them. But one thing I realized, I can't write about them without writing about us, because how they had movies and things, and let no black people. Now you know they was too lazy to do it at work. So you know how did they have a movie and all this stuff and wouldn't show us because they would have to pay us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I take you on a roller coaster journey, when you get off, you have a message that you can carry with you all your life.
Uh, Listen, that's exactly what we need. And so, for those of you guys who are just tuning in, we are talking to author and storyteller Miss Helen Collier. And if you go to her website, Helen Collier Meow, listen, Collier Meow.com. You can find more information about her books and how to purchase her books, which is so full of history, our history that she tells from her own perspective. And so I just have one last question, Miss Helen. Um, what woman in history was an inspiration to you? If you can recall of a woman, because we are celebrating Women's History Month. And so, what woman in history or in your life was an
Uh,
inspiration to you?
of course, I would say my mother. She definitely
Mm-hmm.
was an inspirational storyteller. But as a writer, it was Zell Neale Hurston, because like me, her environment was black, so her stories was about her people, and her
Mm-hmm.
relationship with white people was different from Southern blacks, who was very upset with her because they felt that she should see them as they saw them, but
Mm-hmm.
she saw them the same way I saw the woman who wrote my name in the law. Who is she? And she came, and so that's the way. That's the way she wrote, and so it was the fear that they lived in was not there in her. So she
Mm-hmm.
wrote in a different vein, and when she wrote her story about her people, she knew them, she understood
Yes.
their lives, and so yes, she
Zornil.
definitely.
Absolutely.
You know,
I remember back in I think in high school we read her book Their Eyes Were Watching God.
touching God.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God, she's a
yeah, such a profound book.
she. I would like to say one thing. My hat says meow, and meow rides my ham. That's the Louisiana catfish, and and so when anytime you read most of my books, you're gonna see on the back of it or somewhere where it says meow rides the ham. I will start writing, and meow takes over.
Okay. All right now. Well, we thank you for being our special guest today for our Women's History celebration. We are doing this throughout the month. You can find us on our YaLife Media marketing page, on our nonprofit Reaching Houston, which is this is sponsored by off on our Promote Black Authors page, which is we got to make sure that you are going to be a part of our Promote Black Authors website too, because we would love to have your books featured on there, as well as Urban 411 Entertainment. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Miss Collier, for being a special guest. We want you guys to go to her website, and that's Helen Collier meow.com, and you can find out more information about her books and how to purchase it. As well as, do you have other social media? You're on Facebook. Are you on Instagram or any of those?
Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I'm followed through Messenger.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. So if they go directly to Amazon, my book is there, and then
Yes.
also Life Chronicle.
Oh, Life
Sharon,
Chronicle.
with Sharon Blake.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know Sharon.
You
I know
know
Sharon.
Sharon?
I do know Sharon. I do know Sharon. We worked together. Yes, I do know
Oh
Sharon.
yeah,
Yes.
you owe me all the way, so I can depend on your support. I sure hope so because our
Absolutely.
books and our stories need to be told and need to be read, and our people do read. They just
They
be
do
so
read. We
lazy.
do read. But
Hey,
absolutely, you definitely have our support, and we definitely want the support of you guys from the community. So make sure you guys go to Helen Collier meow.com and check out her books. And these are stories about our Black history from her perspective. So we would definitely love your support. Thank you again. Make sure you guys continue to tune in, as we will have some special guests again tomorrow around the same time. So make sure you tune in to YaLife Media Marketing or Promote Black Authors, and you will see us same time, same place. Thank you again, Miss Collier.
thank you, thank you. Be blessed.
Be blessed.